This is Jim with Absolute Control Irrigation Specialist. I want to welcome you to our channel, another episode of Tips from the Swamp. In an earlier video, we discussed the checking communications from the computer in a Maxi communication system to the actual MIM, which is the field interface. In this second of that series, we're going to show you how to check and troubleshoot the two-wire communication path coming from the MIM to the field controller. And I have set up a simulated field controller that is right over here, tied to a computer, so the system is active. And we're going to look at the MIM and the communication module, which is what the MIM talks to. To do this, we will need a volt-ohm meter, which is right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is move this module out of my way because it's normally out in the satellite. I'm going to set my meter to read AC voltage. That's the V for voltage with a squiggly line. Not the straight line with the dots, that would be DC voltage. I'm going to make sure that the switches for the different channels are on for the ones that I use. In this case it's channel 1, and that is on. Now I'm going to open the panel and check inside. And you'll notice that inside the unit there's an output board, and it has a flashing light right here. That's it, that it's sending out a signal. And we want to check that signal, and we do that by taking the volt-ohm meter on AC voltage, and we put one probe of our meter on one of the output screws and the other on the other output screw, and it shows us 21, 22 varying volts, and it should vary because it's a sine wave that's going out. So let me move up a little tighter, that way you can actually see the meter reading. As you'll notice, it drops down to 18, 19 volts when it's communicating, but when it's sitting waiting to check and go into field, it sits at 21 to 22 volts and it varies. You need to remember that number because that will be reflected in the two-wire module we're going to check in the field. If you're not getting that voltage, it says there is something wrong inside this MIM, most likely with the output board, which is this larger board in the back here. Okay? And if that is a problem, you need to turn the MIM off, unplug that output board, remove it from your MIM, and send it to Absolute Control Irrigation Specialist so we can repair it for you and get it back active. And you'll notice also that as I switch on other channels, we get other channel lights. When we send it back, we make sure that all 4 channels are working. Now we're going to look at the two-wire communication module, this piece right here. It's going to be located out in the satellite in the field. And it's either going to be located on the older units down inside the older style plastic pedestal, or on the newer styles, it will be found up under the face panel. What we want to check here is make sure that we have the correct voltage here. So we take the probe, one probe from our volt-ohm meter, and we put it on the input screw of the two-wire module, and we should see that same 21, 22 fluctuating voltage. Remembering that when this communicates, it will drop as low as 18.5, 19 volts. Okay, now I'm going to remove this. Now, if that voltage is not there, check the wiring between the MIM and tracking unit, and tracking the wire and then finding the faults in it. The other thing we need to be aware of is if this module is working correctly, then if you look at the clock panel, in this case it's a Par Plus ES, you'll notice we have a display, but more importantly, you'll notice that there's a bright red LED that is sitting solid. And that means we're locked in to communicate and it will work. If for some reason that light is not locked on, then there's a problem with, and the voltage is correct, then there's a problem. And if that's the case, you need to take that 2-wire module and replace it with a working 2-wire module, and then you have that repaired. Or if you're in a hurry, we do have some exchange units. So send it in, we'll repair it, and we'll get it back to you as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it was helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new videos. We also appreciate your comments and suggestions. Remember, we will provide you with a shipping label, and we promise a quick turnaround on all repairs. Visit our website. That is www.absolute-control.com. Thanks from Gator with tips from the swamp at Absolute Control Irrigation Specialists Incorporated.